Indy cars are in Detroit, Motown, the Motor City, the home of the assembly line, birthplace of the automobile. But boy, how things have changed.
Walks down that town and say, give yourself a chance, son, don't let life pass you by. But the world of reality is a rat race where only the strong survive. It's a dog-eat-dog world that ain't no lie, ain't no lie. It ain't even safe no more to walk the streets at night.
It's round number 8 of the PPG IndyCar World Series, the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. This is Paul Page. In Detroit today, a light breeze over Belle Isle, overcast sky. That should help racing conditions, and the temperatures are comfortable. Let's go down to the pit lane and Jack Arute.
Well, for most drivers, coming to Detroit and qualifying on the outside of the third row would be a pretty good run, but not if you're part of the Newman-Haas entry, because the lineage here is every year that an IndyCar race has been run here at Michigan in Detroit, their team has sat on the pole. It's just another installment of the frustrating year that Michael Andretti has had since he moved over to replace his retired father. Now, Newman-Haas has done well this year with his teammate, Paul Tracy. Tracy has already scored 2 victories in '95, no victories for Michael Andretti. Now, Tracy will be starting in the outside of row 2, and the pressure was on him to try and keep that streak alive for Newman-Haas, only to have it go up in smoke in a spin late in yesterday's qualifying session. Paul?
Well, and talking about that frustration for Michael Andretti, it seems to just go on and on. Robbie Gordon set the quick time for the pole on Friday, and yesterday in the final qualifying session, Michael Andretti was on a flying lap trying to yank that pole away when Robbie Gordon headed out of the pits on sticker tires. He tried to get out of Michael's way, but couldn't. He lost it. He caught Michael, put Michael into the barrier with some damage to that car. So Michael's frustrations do, in fact, continue. Now, we've reached a pivotal point in this IndyCar season because now we begin a series of road races. In fact, 4 of them. And the next time they come back to an oval is at the Michigan 500 at the end of July. So let's consider how the points are distributed for each position in IndyCar racing. Now, remembering that, let's take a look at how the points stand right now, with the top of the points order being Jacques Villeneuve, followed by Gordon, Tracy, and most of those in the top of the order are, of course, drivers whose skills tend to excel in road racing. And continuing the Michael Andretti story, look down there in 9th place, Michael Andretti with 43 points. Now, another part of this story is Robbie Gordon, because Robbie, despite the fact he is in 2nd place in the points, all but one of those points have been earned on ovals, and that single point as a result of his pole position scored here. So Robbie Gordon is going to have to become a road racer very quickly. Now, Gary Gerould is away on another assignment this weekend, and so we found the best possible replacement we could. IndyCar driver Lyn St. James. Welcome, Lyn.
Thanks, Paul. We're here with Robbie Gordon on the pole, and yes, he's young, he's cocky, he's confident, and he wants to win this championship. You want to be on the front row when you're running a street race, but we're going to watch. We're going to ride with Robbie today, and we're going to watch. We're going to find out, is he going to be that cocky, confident race winner, or is he going to be a little more pragmatic, a little more cautious to go for those championship points? We're going to get to watch and see that today. Sam, Bobby, it's up to you.
Well, Lyn, I think whatever choice Robbie makes, it's going to be tough for him to stay out front today because, for one thing, starting alongside him on that front row is Bobby's nephew, Al Unser Jr., who had an almost identical qualifying time. Plus, there's pressure from that second row, Teo Fabi, who led so brilliantly last week in Milwaukee, and alongside him, Paul Tracy, who went on to win Milwaukee and who is awfully hot. Now he's won 4 out of the last 9 IndyCar races. Then the third row, Scott Pruitt, with the long-lasting Firestone tires, might have just the right thing for today when many of the drivers are going to gamble and try to go on just one pit stop through this race. Finally, of course, Michael Andretti, the hottest driver in many ways not to have won a race this year. He's led all 6 races without managing to win any.
Well, now, you know, they've widened the track in 4 places around here, and they put concrete down where they used to have asphalt that was tearing up in the years past. Now, one thing you got to remember, this really is a rough track.
Yeah, and an interesting stat that's emerged. No driver has managed to win one of these races starting in the front row of the grid.
Well, that may well be, but we're going to see a whole lot of passing today. It's difficult at this track to pass, but the drivers are going to be forced to take a whole bunch of chances, and this is going to make one heck of an exciting race. That's the only way they're going to do it.
All right, Bobby and Sam, the engines have started over on the front side of this racetrack. Before we go away, let's give you an update on Stan Fox. He is still in the neurointensive care unit at Methodist Hospital of Indianapolis, now in fair condition, and it appears that the prognosis for a full recovery is excellent. So when we come back, it will be the start, the green flag for the IndyCars as they begin to run on beautiful Belle Isle in Detroit, and we begin the Road Racing Series. We're back at Belle Isle in Detroit for the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. Let's take a look at the starting grid for today's run. On the pole, Robbie Gordon. This is the second pole of the year for the Phoenix winner. Al Unser Jr. will start outside. The Long Beach winner has never finished higher than fourth here in Detroit. In row 2, it's Teo Fabi. This is his best start on a road course since 1992, and that start was right here. Paul Tracy is to the outside, the defending champion at Detroit, also won last week in Milwaukee. In the third row, Scott Pruitt, a second place here in Detroit in '89, ties his best career finish. And Michael Andretti, the 1990 winner. In row 4, it's Adrian Fernandez. This is the best start of the season for the young Mexican. And Bobby Rahal, the winner of the first race held here on Belle Isle in 1992. The fifth row, Jacques Villeneuve, the winner of 2 races this season, looks to add to that points lead. And Danny Sullivan to the outside. His last IndyCar win came here in 1993. In the sixth row, Mauricio Gugelmin, who has completed the most miles of any driver this year, and Stefan Johansson. Row 7, Christian Fittipaldi and Jimmy Vasser. The eighth row, Raul Boesel and Gil de Ferran. Row 9, Emerson Fittipaldi and Brian Herta. The 10th row, Andre Ribeiro and Eddie Cheever. The 11th row, Marco Greco and Alessandro Zampedri. Row 12, Christian Danner and Eliseo Salazar. Row 13, Eric Bachelard and Hiro Matsushita. And then in row 14, Parker Johnstone and Carlos Guerrero. Now there's some breaking news in the pits right now. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, the contest between Firestone and Goodyear has been a dandy one all season. Now, Scott Pruitt elected to go to a harder compound tire in yesterday's qualifying effort, and he had to literally get rid of his Friday effort because he went to the harder compound. Michael Andretti and Newman Haas, along with Paul Tracy, they went to a harder compound for qualifying, and they found this morning some graining taking place with the harder compound Goodyear tire. So what did they do? They went to nearby Dearborn, the Ford test track, took Mario Andretti, an extra car that Newman Haas had, and they scuffed in additional option tires trying to get rid of the graining problem. They feel they've solved it. Now, Pat Patrick, the owner of Scott Pruitt's car, tried to file a protest. It was disallowed because it was 1, Mario Andretti, and 2, a car, both of which were never entered in the Detroit Grand Prix.
All right, ahead, 77 laps. Fuel stops expected, 15 to 30 laps. Nice wide window, and we'll keep an eye on that tire story as we run through today. In the Nations Cup right now, here is the way this battle continues with the United States out in front, Canada running in second place, Brazil, despite the number of drivers, down in third. We look down through the rest of the order with Italy, Sweden, and Chile rounding out the battle in the Nations Cup. And then in the Manufacturers' Championship, Ford Cosworth is leading that battle over Mercedes-Benz and Honda. And today's stories that we'll track throughout the afternoon for you. First of all, you already heard the concern about the rough track. Secondly will be the frustration of Michael Andretti, and can he finally break that trend? And then there is the challenge of being able to pass on street circuits as narrow and rough as this one is. And of course, that battle between Goodyear and Firestone continues, and the rough track and the passing situation will affect all of that. Now, as we move toward a green flag very quickly, they will come into order. Remember that the start here can be extremely difficult. Looking in this race to Christian Fittipaldi, who has been running very, very quick here and has definitely become a driver to watch. Adrian Fernandez, we mentioned, with one of his best starts thus far this year. Stefan Johansson, we're looking for good things. He's performed very well here before. And Brian Herta, young man still coming off of his accident last year and the problems that he had at Indianapolis. We expect now that we get to road courses where he did so well in Indy Lights, we will find that he does well again. So once again, there's Brian Herta's car. We look ahead, you can see how very narrow this circuit is, and it's rimmed with concrete barriers. So you can't drive with too much verve or vigor, because if you get the back end around a little bit at all, it just may touch one of those barriers and prematurely end the day. Beautiful location for a race, though. As you can see, it's a marvelous park. as they make their turn now down and begin to assemble into the rows of two. And Raul Boesel already has a problem as he rolls slow on the course. And they run toward the green flag. Green flag is out. Here we go. Robbie Gordon darts into the front. Al Unser Jr. is challenged by Paul Tracy. Tracy moves into second place.
Boy, what a pass by Tracy, Paul. On the outside going in. It showed little Al wasn't quite ready at that turn.
Field cleanly through at the start. Michael Andretti comes up, drops into fourth place. Working lap number one. And look at Paul Tracy, boy, as he jumps all over the back end of Robbie Gordon's car. Now tries to cut inside in a corner. Al Unser Jr. lined up in third. Michael Andretti fourth. And the yellow flag has come out at the start line. Yellow flag, twin yellow flags. That means that a full course yellow will come into effect immediately. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Yes. Paul, let's update you on the problem with Raul Boesel. This full course caution is beneficial for him. He is going to come onto pit road. They are going to make a complete change of the electronics. That includes the battery, the brain box, all of it. You can see it coming out of the box now. It'll be a complete replacement under yellow flag conditions.
And of course, the full course yellow is for Raul because he was in a precarious position on the course. They'll get him out of there, and then we'll go racing again on Belle Isle. Back at the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. While we run to this full course caution, this is the view out the back of Brian Herta's car. Look at the smoke and the sparks, because as he came into the pits just a few moments ago, he had a pretty good fire going under the left side. There it is. Bobby, is that oil on the headers?
Yes, it looks like it's probably an oil line that's been leaking, got everything burning. He's burning all the stuff that could burn, like hoses, carbon fiber, stuff like that. Not a dangerous situation.
So back on the course, the green flag comes out. Robbie Gordon, the leader once again, but Paul Tracy, remember his challenge on the first half lap that we ran under green?
We're just a turn away from where Robbie Gordon had his throttle stick earlier this morning, went off into the tire barriers. He gets by fine this time.
Remember, these cars don't really settle down good till they get their tires warm. They have to be up to temperature. You can see Robbie coming off, tweaking the rear end out a little bit. That'll settle down a little bit pretty soon.
So it's Robbie fouled by Michael. You saw Scott Pruitt dart to the inside there as he tried to challenge and tried to come up through the field. Pruitt trying to challenge Teo Fabi, but he drops back behind him. That's Rahal just behind Pruitt. And once again, it's Paul Tracy that's doing everything he can to challenge Robbie Gordon.
He realizes it's a lot easier to pass early on. It's very difficult to pass later on. When the guys get used to the track, it's really difficult at this point.
Also listening to Jack's concern about tires and his question and his report on the Newman Haas team. Is it also easier to get the passes done now while the tires are real sharp?
Oh, for certain, sure, Paul. I mean, it's always easier to do that. And that's the reason we saw Paul Tracy take so many chances right at the start. It was worth it to him.
Gordon has gone off the road and damaged the car each of the 3 days that we've been here so far.
Look back for a second from second place. Paul Tracy, Al Unser Jr. is right behind him. Then Michael, then Teo Fabi, then Scott Pruitt, and Bobby Rahal. It's like a brush of the wall there. And that's the problem. This is Paul Tracy.
Here comes Robbie Gordon through first in the blue and white car. Here's Tracy oversteering through that turn. I don't believe he hit it.
Didn't actually get the wall, but he sure got close.
He didn't hit it, but what he did, Troops, he got the rear end out, and that's what it made it. Got the rear end out going in under braking. The rear end looked like it was coming around. The front end almost hit the wall because of it.
When Paul Tracy climbed into his cockpit on Friday morning, the team had taped something on the steering wheel that said Supernova. And then there was a definition of what that meant. Brighter, a star brighter even than the sun. That's what they think of him, that he is a supernova.
And I'll tell you what, it's that driving style where he cuts it so close that makes him so exciting to watch. Now running in second place. Another exciting driver is the man at point right now, Robbie Gordon.